night had fallen over Saint Mara convent, perched on a lonely hillside overlooking the Aegean Sea. The evening bell had just faded when a distant explosion echoed through the valley. The Ottomans had crossed the ridge. In the cold wind, the nuns knelt before the altar, fingers clutching their rosaries as candlelight flickered across faces, pale with fear. They knew what was coming. Since the fall of Constantinople, the tide of conquest had swept across the land. Churches burned, monasteries looted, sacred texts lost forever. But the Sisters of Saint Mara chose to stay, to protect the orphans in their care and the ancient manuscripts entrusted to them. They believed faith would shield them. They were wrong. That night, the sound of hooves thundered through the courtyard. The great oak door splintered under the soldiers' blows. Torches flared, flooding the chapel with cruel light. The sisters stood in silence, crucifixes clutched to their chests. The Ottoman commander, a young man with cold eyes and a scar running down his cheek, stepped forward. He said nothing at first, only gestured sharply. The soldiers fanned out, tearing through the rooms in search of gold and relics. When they reached the final chamber, where a set of Greek manuscripts lay hidden, the commander hesitated. "Do not burn these," he said quietly. "Keep them." A strange order, uttered in the midst of chaos. And in that fleeting moment, something human flickered behind his hardened gaze. He turned and saw Sister Elenia, the youngest of the convent. Her eyes, filled with terror yet unbroken faith, met his. No words were spoken, but history, in that instant, recorded a silent defiance, the courage of the powerless before the face of empire. By dawn, Saint Mara was gone, reduced to ash and silence. Yet 12 nuns and the manuscripts had vanished, taken east under heavy guard. No one knew where. Years later, Venetian merchants whispered of strange writings found in an Ottoman library, books penned in a woman's hand, telling of faith, sacrifice, and light within darkness. Some believed they were the lost voices of Saint Mara's sisters, who had traded freedom for the survival of knowledge. Centuries passed. The world forgot them. Only a brief note remained in a faded chronicle. A convent destroyed. 12 nuns never seen again. But their wisdom endured. In a dusty library in Istanbul, scholars have found a fragment of parchment. Its edges burned, its ink faded to brown. We did not yield. We preserved the light. No one can say whether those words were truly theirs. But when you read them, you can almost hear the echo of that bell in the night, ringing above the ruins, pleading not for rescue, but remembrance. And perhaps that is the cruelest part of their fate. Not death itself, but the silence that followed. The silence of a world that moved on, forgetting the women who once defied it, with nothing but faith, courage, and ink.